Nigeria isn't calm, it's quiet. And quiet is what comes right before things explode. In our last video, we asked whether 2027 is already decided, but that analysis missed three forces no political model is currently measuring. And ignoring them could make every 2027 prediction dangerously wrong. Welcome to Threads of Power, where Nigerian politics is examined, not praised, and not protested. Watch closely. In the last episode, we dissected Tinubu's political fortress. The opposition neutralized, the elite absorbed, the streets silent. For now, it looks invincible. But history is clear about one thing. Fortresses don't fall to enemies outside the walls. They collapse from pressures already inside. The Soviet Union didn't collapse because of NATO. It collapsed because the people stopped believing. Rome didn't fall to barbarians. It fell to its own corruption and detachment from reality. And right now, three such forces are building beneath Nigeria's surface. Ignored. Underestimated. Quietly growing. Force number 1. The generation of broken promises. The first force is a generation. The same generation that brought Nigeria to a standstill in 2020. The end SARS generation. But they are not who they were in 2020. Back then, they were protesting police brutality. What they were really protesting was a stolen future. They were placated. Promised reforms, then systematically ignored. Today, fuel is over 800 naira. Jobs are mythical. Survival has replaced hope. This generation hasn't become weaker, they've become colder, smarter, quieter. They're no longer planning protests, they're planning exits. Or they're planning something else entirely. A digital war. They've abandoned traditional opposition politics because they see it for what it is, a recycled contest between the same thieves. Their power is not in rallies. It's in ridicule. In viral narratives that destroy political careers in 48 hours. In TikTok videos that reach 5 million Nigerians before breakfast. They've weaponized laughter. In 2027, they may not march for a candidate, but they will march against a system. And they have the numbers. Over 60% of Nigeria's population is under 25, to turn any miscalculation into a political funeral. But disillusionment alone doesn't topple governments. It needs fuel. Force number 2. The anguish of the provider. Forget GDP. Forget inflation charts. The real economy is measured in silence. The silence of a father who can no longer provide. The silence of a mother choosing which child eats less. The fuel subsidy wasn't just a policy. It was dignity. And that dignity has been taken. The political elite calls this pain. But this isn't pain. Pain heals. This is daily humiliation. And here is what power always forgets. A humiliated provider has nothing left to lose. They are not reading manifestos. They are counting grains of rice. This force doesn't move on election timetables. It moves on survival clocks. And when that clock runs out, loyalty shatters. Party affiliation becomes meaningless. Tribal politics lose their grip. Because when you're choosing between rent and food, you stop caring about political games. You start looking for anyone who speaks to that desperation. This is not an opposition. It is a condition. And conditions spread like wildfire. Force number 3. The new apostles of alternatives. The old opposition is gone, absorbed into the fortress. But nature hates a vacuum. Into that vacuum, new apostles are rising. Podcasters preaching radical self-reliance. Social media influencers weaponizing despair into ideology. Regional champions selling identity over policy. They speak the language of the broken generation. They feel the pain of the provider. While the fortress watches the gates, these apostles are tunneling underneath. One disillusioned soul at a time. They're not trying to win arguments. They are building a counterculture. In 2027, they may not be on the ballot, but they will decide who millions refuse to vote for, or whether they vote at all. Low turnout is not an accident. It is a weapon. The convergence. Now imagine this. These three forces, separate streams flowing in the dark, suddenly converging. Individually, they are pressures. Manageable. Together, they are an earthquake. The generation supplies the digital army. Organized, tech-savvy, impossible to censor. They control the narrative space. When they move, millions see it instantly. When they ridicule, reputations crumble overnight. The providers supply the emotional fuel, raw, desperate, ready to ignite. This is not abstract anger. This is the rage of parents who cannot feed their children. The humiliation of breadwinners who have become irrelevant in their own homes. This is survival instinct weaponized. The apostles supply the narrative, the story that makes sense of the chaos, that transforms suffering into purpose. They give the generation direction. They give the providers a language for their pain, They turn individual desperation into collective movement. When hunger finds a voice, and that voice finds a generation with nothing left to lose, history doesn't negotiate. It breaks. This convergence creates something unprecedented, something neither pollsters nor political strategists have models for. Because when a tech-native generation with nothing to lose connects with parents who can no longer provide, and both find prophets speaking their truth, traditional power calculations collapse. You can't buy off a movement that rejects money politics. You can't intimidate people who've already lost everything. You can't censor a generation that treats every ban as a challenge. The 2023 election was about structures and godfathers, about who controlled which state, about money and machinery. The 2027 election will be about psychology and survival, about belief and desperation, about whether people see hope or a system that must be rejected entirely. Does this mean the fortress will fall? Not necessarily. Tinubu's machine is ruthless, adaptive, still consolidating. He may yet divide these forces, co-opt them, turn them against each other. He's done it before, but here's what's undeniable. The 2027 election will not be fought on the 2023 battlefield. Any analyst using 2023 models will fail. Any politician using the old playbook is walking into an ambush. Any strategist ignoring despair, digital mobilization, and alternative leadership is reading yesterday's map for tomorrow's war. The forgotten forces are no longer invisible. They are rewriting the rules in real time. And the question now is not whether they will impact 2027. The question is, who will harness them first? The Obi question. One man saw these forces coming. He tried to harness them in 2023. Peter Obi. For a moment, it looked like it might work. But here's the question that will define 2027. What happens when a movement outgrows its leader? When the energy becomes bigger than one man can contain? When the generation realizes even their champion might just be another politician? That rupture, happening right now beneath the surface, may be the single biggest key to 2027. Is Obi still the vessel? Or has the wave moved beyond him? Can he hold the coalition together? Or will it fracture into 1,000 pieces? To understand this dilemma, this trap that could swallow the entire opposition, you need to watch the next video. The Obi Dilemma, the trap that could swallow 2027. Trust me, you do not want to miss that. If this video opened your eyes, smash that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Because what comes next, we're diving into something even more explosive. Stay woke, stay informed, and never stop questioning.